Now that Newt Scamander is the center of attention, it has been pointed out by many fans that in a moment he was featured in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. During the scene where Fred and George Weasley first show Harry the Marauder's map, Newt Scamander's name can be seen on it, since the map shows the location of every single person at Hogwarts at the given time. That means Newt Scamander was somewhere in the grounds of the school during that time. So what was Newt Scamander doing at Hogwarts then? So, even though he wasn't featured on screen, Newt Scamander was definitely a part of Harry Potter universe before this new Fantastic Beasts movie. It's unknown who puts this little Newt Scamander Easter egg in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It could be J.K. Rowling or the director himself, but either way, it is definitely a nice little touch. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him takes place in New York in 1926. So Newt would be an old man in The Prisoner of Azkaban, with almost 95 years old. Newt Scamander has always had a small presence in Harry Potter. He wrote the textbook on magical creatures, eventually used by Harry himself, a book that would go on to be the first magical book available for muggles to read. But we can notice that Newt was actually in one of the Harry Potter movies, if only for a second. He's never on screen physically, but his name can clearly be made out of the Marauder's map. But that hasn't stopped us from creating our own theories as to why Newt was visiting Hogwarts. One theory says that Newt was visiting Dumbledore. People who have seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him will know that Dumbledore was Newt's teacher at Hogwarts. When Newt was expelled from Hogwarts, Dumbledore strongly opposed it and fought against the decision, suggesting that there is some sort of kinship between them. Dumbledore also writes the foreword to Newt's book, so maybe Newt's visit was in regard to that. Another theory says that Newt Scamander had a grandson in Hogwarts at the same time as Harry Potter was, so he might have been visiting his grandson. There were also some no-sense theories, such as Newt was a ghost roaming around in Hogwarts, but I found that hard to believe. So the theory that makes the most sense to me, and it gets stronger once you consider one of the key events of Prisoner of Azkaban, the execution of Buckbeak the Hippogriff. It doesn't take a stretch of the imagination to think that Newt would take a special interest in Buckbeak. Newt is a lover of all animals, and Buckbeak's unfair sentence to death would draw his attention. Maybe Dumbledore called his old student Scamander, who is an expert in magical creatures, for advice on how to control the situation and to have Buckbeak eventually freed rather than killed. This only makes more sense considering that Newt's mother was a breeder of hippogriffs. Who knows, maybe she even bred Buckbeak's grandparents. Newt had an early love of magical creatures. He could have been there to try and stop the execution, but he wasn't as successful. What do you guys think of the reason Newt Scamander was at Hogwarts? Let me know in the comment section.